Okay, let's continue our discussion on our lesson evaluation of mutually exclusive alternatives. Now we're done with what was the first method? Service projects. We're done with service projects. Wait, now let's go to revenue projects. Okay, so I think I have explained briefly the difference between revenue projects and service projects before when we had a brief introduction of this particular lesson. So we have an example here. So suppose that the computer monitor manufacturer is considering marketing two types of high resolution monitors. With its present production capacity, the firm can market only one of them. So it's a choice between the two types of monitors. Now, distinct production processes for the two models could incur very different manufacturing costs, and the revenues from each model would be expected to differ due to divergent market prices and potentially different sales volumes. So clearly, this project's revenues depend on the choice of alternative. For such revenue projects, we are not limiting the amount of input to the project or the amount of output that the project would generate. Okay. Therefore, we want to select the alternative with the largest net gains, or that is the difference between the output and the input. Okay, so may pinakamalaking profit, of course. So we're going to choose the project that would give us the highest gain or profit. In this situation, if we are to use the present worth criterion, we would select the model that promises to bring the largest net present worth. So take note, it's net present worth. Okay, and so that's net present worth. So the most common method used, although yung mga methods na nandito are sa revenue projects ay similar, so similar lang yan dun sa service projects or the methods we have learned before in the previous chapter. So the most common method used for this particular revenue projects would be the net present worth. So the calculation of the net present worth, the ROR, rate of return, we're going to compute for the internal rate of return, and the equivalent annual worth method. Okay, so we have ito parang dun sa service projects din, no? So ito sa service projects kasi we call the cost, no? Okay? And itong equivalent annual worth method sa service projects, we call it the equivalent uniform annual cost, the EUAC, no, method. But the process of computing would be the same. So again, ang difference ng revenue projects sa service projects would be sa revenue projects we're going to select the project that will give us the highest gain or highest profit. Doon naman sa service projects we're going to choose the project that would give us the least cost, no, least cost. Another point of difference would be sa revenue projects, we do not limit the amount of input or output, no? So, kahit gaano pa karami yung output natin, input natin dun sa project na yan, basta nag-generate ng revenues or profit, no? Okay? So, we're going to choose whichever give us the largest revenue. And sa service projects, meron ng nakaset na amount of units na manufacture if it's a manufacturing company. Okay. So since nakaset na yung amount of units per year, per month, for example, so nagkakatalo, no, dun sa cost of producing those units. So if project A, project B, project C, no, they can all meet the number of units required for a particular month or year, then of course projects A, B, and C would be would differ in terms of the cost in operating or maintaining these projects. So whichever give us the least amount of cost, then we're going to choose that project. So revenue projects, we're going to select the project that would give us the largest revenue or net uh, profit, I should say. Okay. Okay. So let's try to solve a problem to illustrate how we apply different methods in comparing or evaluating mutually exclusive alternatives under revenue projects. Let's solve problem number one. COE Manufacturing and Construction Company owns a warehouse that has been used for storing fabricated steel products for its construction projects. As the company is transferring its fabricated steel warehouse, the company is considering modifying the existing structure to use for manufacturing a new product line. So COE's production engineer feels that the warehouse could be modified to handle one of two product lines. So they're going to produce there are two proposals now. Okay. The cost and revenue data for the product alternatives are as follows. So we have product A and product B. Okay, for initial cash expenditure, so warehouse modification, of course, we need to modify the warehouse to accommodate the manufacture of either product A or B, and then additional equipment to produce these products. Annual revenues, so these would be the values for annual revenues for both products. Annual operations and maintenance costs, ito. And then product life, so they have the same. Okay, they have the same number of years. And then salvage value of the equipment. Okay, equipment lang yung warehouse modification ay wala. So salvage value of the equipment is ito for the two products. So after 8 years, the converted building will be too small for efficient production of either product line. So at that time, COE plans to use it as warehouse for storing raw materials. COE's required rate of return on investment is 15%. Which product should be manufactured? So neglect depreciation. Okay? So yung warehouse, wala siyang yung warehouse modification natin, wala siyang salvage value because it will be used as a warehouse, no, ulit, or storage house for the products of COE company. Okay, ang may salvage value ay yung equipment, so hindi na siya needed after 8 years, so ibenta nilang nila. So meron tayong salvage values dito. Okay, ang solution natin, we're going to use the present worth method, and I think present worth and the rate of return. Hindi ko nilagay. Dalawang method na lang para ma-present natin yung other methods. Okay, we're going to use the present worth and the internal rate of return method to analyze the situation. So note that these are revenue projects again. Okay, hindi siya service project. So we need to estimate the revenue streams for both product lines. So i-drawing din mamaya yung yung cash flow diagram for each product. Since the converted building will be used as a warehouse by the firm, there will be no salvage value associated with the building. So meron lang tayong salvage value dun sa equipment na na-install dun sa warehouse. Okay, this would be the cash flow diagram for product line A. So meron tayong initial investment na 18.25 million. So going back to ito, so pinag-add na lang natin ito. Initial natin is the sum of the warehouse modification and the equipment. Okay. Ayan. And then what else? Eto, so meron tayong revenue na 4.45 million. So saan galing yung 4.45 million? So let's go back to the table. So meron tayong annual revenue, pero meron din tayong annual operations and maintenance cost. Okay, so remember, cost yan, ito revenue. So i-subtract lang natin itong dalawang values. So yun na yung ating annual net revenue na to. So parang ito na yung profit mo, net profit mo every year. So that is revenue minus cost. Ito. Okay? And then we also have a salvage at the end of 8 years. Meron tayong salvage value na 1.25 million. Ito, 1.25 million. Okay? So using present worth, net present worth, okay, net present worth uh, method. So since downwards itong initial investment natin, downwards. So negative siya dito. And then i-convert natin ito to an equivalent present value or present worth. Ito, annuities yan. And of course, yung salvage value, i-transfer natin yan sa present. So ito yung formula natin to do that. So again, substitute natin yung mga values sa equation na finorm natin. So ang ating principal or initial cost, ito. And then we also have itong net annual gains natin or revenue or profit. Yan. Again, ito ay yung difference between the annual revenue and the annual cost, the maintenance and operations cost natin. Okay? So ito na yon, 4.45 million plus yung present worth ng salvage value natin. So we have a net present worth of, ito na yung present worth. So 2,127,207.927. Okay, that's the net present worth for product line A. Ay, sorry, hindi pala problem 1 yung may RRR method. So net present worth lang pala itong problem 1. I think number 2, we're going to apply the internal rate of return method or the ROR method. So, ayan. Net present worth lang pala talaga itong problem 1. So, okay, let's proceed. So, that's product line A. Ito yung net present worth niya for product line A. And then, for product line B, ito naman yung ating cash flow for product line B. So, we have an initial investment of 25.2 million. Okay, again, that is the sum of the warehouse modification and the equipment cost. Okay. And yung ating annual revenue, net gains natin is the difference, again, the difference between the annual revenues and the annual cost. So going back to the table, ito yung annual revenues natin minus ito. So that would be our net annual gains or revenues. Okay. And then we have salvage value, 1.75 million at the end of 8 years. So 1.75 million. Okay. Ayan. So this will be our cash flow diagram for product line B. So the net present worth for B, again, so since downwards yung arrow, minus yan, upwards ay plus. So salvage value natin, of course, plus kasi ibebenta mo yon, babalik yung pera sa'yo. So, ayan, kaya additive itong ating salvage value. So, yan. Minus negative initial investment or initial cost natin, 25.2 million. Tapos itong annuity natin na ito, i-transfer natin or i-convert natin to an equivalent value or worth in the present. Ganon din sa may salvage value, i-convert natin to an equivalent value in the present time. Okay, so ito yung formula natin. So the net present worth for product line B is 2.52. For product line A, we have 2.127. So which So again, for revenue projects, we're going to choose the product or project that would give us the largest revenue, which is product line B. Okay, that is product line B. Okay, so that's it. That's problem number one under revenue projects. Problem number two would be solved in a separate video na lang. Okay, so see you sa problem number two.